What do Anne Murray, Terry Clark, and Shania Twain have in common with one of today's brightest rising country stars, other than just being really, really amazing women's voices in country music? Well, that artist that I was talking about is Tenille Arts, and the thing they all have in common is that they are gifts to us from Canada. And I want to welcome on the phone for the first time ever in Kicks Country. Please welcome Tenille Arts. How are you, Tenille?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
First of all, congratulations on your history-making #1 single, Somebody Like That. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
It's history-making because, like, back in April, that reached the #1 spot on the Media-Based chart. If I'm not mistaken, like, what was it, like the first song in country music history that was written by all women to reach #1? Is that right?
Yeah, the first song written and produced by all women to make it to #1, which is so crazy to me.
How huge is that, though? I mean, and I feel like in 2021, that should not be huge news, but it is, and I'm like, that's amazing. I'm like, it took us to 2021 to get there, but hey, we're here now, and there's nowhere to go but up, right?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, when we wrote this song, we weren't thinking, oh, we're going to go make history. We just loved working together, and so, to sit at the top of the charts with these amazing women just is like the extra cherry on top.
I think Alex Klein, who was the third woman? Was it Allison Cruz? Is that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Allison Cruz, Alex Klein, and you, all three of you guys. And if I'm not mistaken, Klein made history as the sole producer of the song, making her the first solo woman producer to have a #1 single at country radio. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow,
Pretty crazy.
I mean, and of course the song was on. It charted for 70 straight weeks, and it made it the longest chart run for a woman artist in the history of the media-based country air check chart. Tenille, wow, just wow. I'm gonna stop saying
so much.
I'm gonna stop saying wow any minute now. I actually met Tenille Arts very briefly. I think it was back in 2018. She did a showcase in Nashville, and I went up there and visited a good friend of mine from here, a songwriter, Mark Narmore. You had a song with him. I think it was Alabama was the song. And he was there at the showcase, and we were talking about you. And at the time, I think it was 2018, you had a single out at that time, Cold Feet, which I had said was one of the best country singles I'd heard that entire year. So for those of you listening, if you haven't heard Tenille Arts' Cold Feet, go find that track. Obviously, you're making history already with doing what you're doing. Have you had a chance to work with any other artists or been to the Muscle Shoals area in the years since then? I mean, obviously, provided COVID notwithstanding. Have you been back here?
You know what? I haven't been back, but Mark, who you were just talking about, actually took me on a little bit of a tour with my mom and my little sister when they were visiting of Muscle Shoals, and it was just so incredible. Mark knows everything. Yeah, he does. There is to know about that town. So it was incredible, and I can't wait to come back. It's so great.
Well, we'd love to have you, and I'll tell Mark. It's like he's going to bring a tour. He's going to bring you by, the home of Sam Phillips's family and Sun Records. The legacy of that here. I'm like, Mark, come on, man. I thought we were family, Mark. I thought we were family. All right, let's dip a little bit into because I know we don't have a whole lot of time. I want to dip a little bit into who Tenille Arts is. Weyburn, Saskatchewan is where you hail from, just north of the United States in Canada. And of course, Canadians are always just known for being such wonderfully nice human beings. And I have to admit that you've always been very kind. Talk to us a little bit about growing up in Weyburn and what Saskatchewan is like for folks who've never been there.
Well, I would say Saskatchewan is kind of like Oklahoma. It's actually just very, very flat. It's wheat fields. It's a lot of farming. So I grew up in, the small town of Weyburn, but then we also have a family wheat farm just outside of a town called Mydale. So I kind of grew up, a little bit in that country lifestyle, but also having, the small town and a few close by bigger cities that we were able to, pretty much have the best of both worlds. So I loved growing up there, and that town is just incredibly supportive of my career to this day. So it was a great place to grow up.
Well, growing up in that environment with the family that you had, you've been writing and singing and performing since like you were 13 years old. What do you believe it was in that environment that contributed to your particular style of songwriting and artistry?
Well, I think just really growing up in that country lifestyle, I just wrote about, what I knew, and I loved country music. Everybody around me listened to country music and listened to country radio, so it was very natural for me to get into that. But growing up, I figured this out recently. The music that I loved, it was country music, but it was also the Beatles and Paul Simon, and a lot of the common thread between all of that was incredible songwriting. And so I just, I figured that out, and I just really kind of dove into that because I was like, that's what I love. I want to share music like that. I want to make music like that. So country felt like the most natural place for me to end up.
You obviously made a splash in Canada before coming here. Canadians knew who you were, and your, like you said, your community was very supportive. Coming into the United States, coming into Nashville and into this country music scene, what did you encounter that you were like, wow, I didn't see that coming, or that was the most amazing part of the experience for you?
Well, I think just moving to Nashville, everybody's kind of the best in their hometown or whatever. And then you come to Nashville and you realize, oh my gosh, there's so many talented, incredible people. So it's a little bit intimidating to get into the country music scene because there's just so many talented people. People work really hard. They're writing every day. And so I think for me, it was just like, okay, I either go all in or I need to just go back home. So I chose to go all in and give it everything that I had. And of course, there's ups and downs. There's ups and downs in every career. So for me, it was just kind of having that great support system and continuing to push forward, even when it didn't seem like it was going my way. I just kind of kept going and kept working hard because I knew there was the possibility of having, moments like this with the number one, and I wanted that really badly. So
yeah, well, that work ethic comes from, growing up in farm country. Really, that's where that comes from. Now, you made it to the U.S., you hit the ground running, you wasted like no time getting attention. You ended up appearing on The Bachelor in 2018, singing Moment of Weakness, and then again, a season or two later, you were on there singing I Hate This, which is on your current album. That song, I Hate This, was number one, iTunes Country in U.S. and Canada. You appeared on the Grand Ole Opry in 2019. You made your Grand Ole Opry debut 2 years ago. Do you feel like there's a gap in time with 2020? I mean, having just like somebody just pulled a year of our life off the shelf, because 2019, that was 2 years ago almost. You made your Opry debut. Have you been back since?
I have actually been back. Yeah, just I think twice. Yeah, I just had my third performance on the Opry, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. I would have thought that I would be performing there much more over the last 2 years, but with COVID, it just kind of took that year away from us. But I hope that everybody can find some good in what happened, and hopefully we can move forward and, just get back to live shows. And I'm just really looking forward to things getting back to normal. I think everybody's going to have a little bit of a greater sense of gratitude for what we get to do and just the great country that we get to live in, and all the great people around us. Absolutely.
Have you gotten a lot of writing done in the last year during the pandemic? I'm sure you probably did.
Oh, yeah. I was writing over Zoom the entire time. I've never written so much in my life. So, that means that new music is coming very, very soon because I had a lot of time to focus on that.
All right. Well, let's talk about new music before we let you go. Your current album, I believe it is the current album, Love, Heartbreak, and Everything in Between, right?
Yeah, that's the current one, yeah.
And that's got, of course, the number one, Somebody Like That, I Hate This, Call You Names. Now, your current single is on this album, Back Then, Right Now. That's the brand new single that actually drops, I believe, next week, right? Back Then, Right Now?
Yeah, it actually comes out, on streaming services this Friday, and then Monday is the exciting day for radio.
Yeah, that's the day that all the radio guys like me get to go, yes, I'm adding that record today. Back Then, Right Now. Talk to us real quick about that. I'm going to go ahead and play that on the way out of this conversation, but set up this song for us. Talk to us. What is Back Then, Right Now? What is that about?
So it's really about the time we're in right now. It's trying to bring some of that, feeling that we had growing up, being teenagers and just kind of living in our own world, a little bit of freedom in that sense. We're naive, but also there's a bit of freedom in that. So just trying to bring some of that feeling into where we are today, and bring back burnt CDs and, and hanging out, driving up and down Main Street.
I love it. All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead. Do you mind if we kind of early debut your single here in Kicks 96? Do you mind?
I do not mind at all. That would be amazing.
All right, Tenille Arts is our guest, and Back Then Right Now is the single. And thank you so much, Tenille. We appreciate you being here. And hopefully the next time Mark decides to give you and your mom a tour of Muscle Shoals, he'll bring you over here to where we are, the radio station, so that you can see, our part of the Muscle Shoals music history.
I would absolutely love that. I will definitely come and see you guys as soon as I can.
All right. Thank you so much. You have a great day, okay?
Thank you so much. You too. Hey, this is Tenille Arts, and this is my brand new song, Back Then Right Now, on Kicks 96.
I could really use a little down, slow down, a little bit of look back on